Have you ever walked into a physical space and got a weird feeling? Like it just didn't feel good in there? Might have looked great, might have been well decorated and clean and everything you like, good colors, but there just was a weird feeling there. Have you ever seen a location in your town near where you live that a string of businesses open and close there, and no business ever seems to make it in that spot, almost like that spot is cursed? If you've ever had those experiences, then you would understand why the energy of a space can be a problem. It can be a good thing, it can be a bad thing. You walk into a certain home, you might not like the way it looks, but you like the way it feels, or the opposite. And that goes for homes and businesses and any kind of space. So this video is about space clearing. I do space clearing. I'm an energy healer and a hypnotist, and space clearing is one of the things that I do for my clients. I've worked for department stores. I've been on photo shoots doing space clearing for some of the biggest fashion magazines. And I've worked on real estate projects, properties that weren't selling, and we cleared the space. I cleared the space, and it then sold quite quickly. And so there are different things that I work on: homes, businesses, real estate, all kinds of things. But the basic idea is that just like people hold certain issues, so do spaces. The idea is everything is energy, and there are coherent frequencies of energy, and there are incoherent frequencies. If you walk into a place where people have been fighting, you might feel agitated and not know why. You might get really pissed off all of a sudden and not know why. And that goes for all kinds of feelings. And so what I do is I come into a space, and usually a business, and I talk with the owner or the highest ranking person available, because usually they know what they want, and they know what's happening and what's not happening in this space. A lot of times what I'll do is I'll clear a space before the company moves in. For example, for one modeling agency in New York that I worked for, they were going to open, I believe, first of the year, or right after the first of the year, and they had everything moved in, all the furniture, all the office equipment was moved in. But before they started their first day of business, I came in and cleared the space for them. Now, what's entailed in clearing a space, some basic things that we do. Now, for one thing, there's something called astral imprints. A weird sounding thing, I know, sounds very woo-woo. But what it is imagine if you had a wall in a room, and that wall was taken down. There's an energetic imprint of that wall that's still in that space forever. Now, let's say that wall went between two different people. Where that wall was in the past, cut two different people off. Now, literally, it sounds weird, I know, but those people could have communication problems because of the energy of that wall that used to be there. For example, you could have a space where somebody worked for 20 years and they were miserable. and they sat at that desk or whatever, and they were miserable. And as you go into that part of the space, you kind of start feeling a little weird. So, there are all kinds of things that can happen. It's very common knowledge that a lot of times when there's been a murder in a house, nobody wants to buy the house. Well, that's because the space holds the imprint of the event for some reason. So when I come to your space, and I work throughout all of Southern California, we sit down and talk first. We go over what's been happening in the space, what's not been happening in the space that you would like to happen. And then go through all the business issues, all the personal issues, the emotions that come up, really dig into it. That's if it's an existing space. Now, let's say it's a house that's been on the market for a while, and it hasn't gotten a lot of visitors. It hasn't gotten an offer yet. Then we'll go over any knowledge of previous occupants. Hopefully it's the previous occupants that I will speak with, and they will be honest about what the vibe was in the house. Sometimes, Grandma was dying in that house for the last 15 years. And so there was all the feelings Grandma was going through, all the feelings that people were going through as they visited her, the nurses that were taking care of her, whatever. That all puts an energy into the space. And it can be very subtle. It's not like you're going to walk in and be blown away by these energies usually. But, when one little difference, right? All it takes is that one person coming in to look at the space, and they're just like, I don't like it. Let's look at something else. And that's it. You're not selling to that person. So any little edge you can have, just like staging the property, can be good. And when you're dealing with a high value thing like real estate, it could pay to have that edge. Now, my space clearing work starts at $500 for a business. It can be more based on distance from where I am. I'm in Hollywood, so within about 15 miles, it's going to be $500. Now, if it's a larger space like a department store, a really huge house, something like that, then that will be extra. The more time I have to spend. So, for example, if somebody has me come and do a house, and they say, well, just do the house as one unit, right? Then it can be $500. But if they're like, well, I want you to go through every room in the house and do a little clearing everywhere, and then do the entire clearing for the house as a whole, that's going to be more. And that's something I can quote you when we talk about it. So if you'd like information on space clearing in the greater Los Angeles area or beyond, but that's extra, obviously, you can reach me at andysway@yahoo.com. Check out my website, andysway.com, and thanks for watching. Bye.